We're down here at Ocean Village in Southampton to test the new Fairline Squadron 48. Now this boat is very interesting for one particular reason. It's the first 48-foot flybridge boat by Fairline designed to suit IPS like its predecessor, the Targa 48. And that's quite an interesting challenge, because in the past this sort of size and volume of boat would have been powered by at least 500 horsepower engines, if not more. And obviously it's important for Fairline and their customers to get this boat up to a reasonable speed with what are actually now 435 horsepower engines. How did this boat perform out on the water? Well, this was the big surprise. When we tested the Targa 48 a few months ago, we achieved just over 31 knots. And the Targa 48 is ostensibly the same boat, same layout inside, same engine, same power system, but without the flybridge. So I was expecting, with the extra weight that we were carrying today, that it might be a bit of a sluggard. And in fact, anything but was the case. And we achieved 31.4 knots over a two-way run. And Fairline didn't cheat with us either. They put 80% fuel on board, full tank of water, we had 5 crew on board, some safety stores, a life raft, and the only thing we were really missing was maybe a few extra cruising stores and a tender. So that's actually a really good, respectable performance for a boat of this size and volume, over 31 knots with a decent load. So anyway, the actual driving experience itself is quite interesting. Despite this boat's bulk, she's a very agile boat out on the water, and of course you'd expect that with IPS, but you might expect with this sort of size boat for it to slow down a little bit, but she is very agile. And of course you've got that fantastic IPS thing of the joystick and the control that gives you in very tight confined marinas when conditions for mooring get really tricky. And the rest of the driving experience when you're out on the water is really good as well. The sight lines through the screens, although these mullions, they're quite big mullions to give you the strength in the boat, but they don't seem to intrude too much into the sight lines. And as long as you have the blinds up back aft, again the view back aft isn't bad, the view through the patio door isn't bad, the boat doesn't trim badly. And the only thing I would say is that I found that the boat did benefit, as once it started to get choppy, the boat did benefit from the excellent trim tabs which they fit, which are my favourites, which are Lenco's, and a bit of bow down trim through the choppy stuff did really sort of smooth out the ride. All the controls fall easily to hand, the chart plotter is very easy to see, and all the essential windscreen wipers are down here, and the essential trim tabs are close to hand as well. So it all works very well, and the icing on the cake of course is these really comfortable fully adjustable seats. We're in the owner's midship cabin on the Squadron 48, and of course the very reason this exists is because this boat is IPS powered. IPS allows Fairline to put the engines right at the back of the boat, and this frees up the space in the middle of the boat, and the engines would have normally sat about here where the big bed is. And consequence is a great big light airy cabin, lovely great windows, and just one or two practical details which are a bit disappointing perhaps. This lovely shiny countertop here has no fiddles on and no leather top to stop things sliding around at all when you actually go to sea. And all of these lovely drawers, loads of storage in this cabin, but all of these 10 drawers on the side of the boat, 6 this side, 4 that side, have 2 catches every time you want to open and shut them. So a couple of things I think could be improved in here, but other than that, a really great cabin to be in, and a nice ensuite in front of me here. We're in the cockpit here, and for my money this is actually the most intelligently and practically designed part of the boat. Really well thought out, all sorts of little good details here. The biggest is there's a great storage area and easily accessible storage area under this seat here. These gates are really beautifully and expensively made. There's a space for your warps behind me, and these steps are really good as well. They're open, so they allow lots of space for kit bags behind them and paraphernalia like deck shoes. They've got really sturdy handles here, a nice deep shallow incline on the teak treads. It's a really well thought out area, this. Very unusual on a boat this size to have such good engine room access, and it's particularly good because there are 2 separate hatches. This one takes you down between the engines, and then this other large one over here takes you down to panels which are laid out with the fuel filters and the raw water strainers. It's very handy for a quick check.